Welcome back to another edition of Zero Blog 30. I don't know how many rounds we have today. Do you?
It's kind of a mixed bag.
Mixed bag of rounds.
News roundup. It's a quick news roundup, touching on a couple big stories, and then into something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, I want to talk about camels.
Right.
I love camels.
Yeah.
So I want to. That's
There
the
is
main
a military
story.
tie-in,
Yeah,
so don't worry.
And it's a good one. It's one I've never heard of. Have you ever heard of it, Cons?
No, I was reading through it and I'm completely lost.
The military camel program.
Oh yeah, it's good.
No idea.
So we're gonna give you an update about Trevor Reed and Travis King and a couple other things, and all that's gonna get started right now. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka. In partnership with New Amsterdam Vodka, Barstool is offering much-needed assistance to support the renovation of a selected VFW Post common area. We are also calling on our audience to help with this program because New Amsterdam Vodka has pledged $50,000 to renovate a VFW Post, and Stoolies can join in too by making their own contribution. So if you're interested in donating, visit barstoolsports.com/winsforwarriors to help us reach our goal. Again, if you're interested in donating, visit barstoolsports.com/winsforwarriors to help us reach our goal. All right, Kate, so you have the news roundup today. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I was just wondering, because the way it left off, Trevor Reed, as we know, he spent over 2 years detained by Russia before a prisoner exchange last year, and he went right back to Ukraine to fight Russia. So he signed up with Ukrainian forces as soon as he was freed and went back to fight Russia. And then 2 weeks ago, we get word that he was seriously injured.
And it turned out he signed up more than we had thought.
Yes. And so I just wanted an update on that. First off, the injury, there's two anonymous U.S. military officials who were at the briefing on Reed, and they said he either stepped on a landmine or took shrapnel to his legs, but nobody's 100% clear. Nothing has been announced about his injuries.
Which is bizarre because he's in Germany, and it should be easy to get that information.
The other thing, too, is that there has been, I Googled my ass off this morning. I looked across social media. There has not been a peep about him since that story broke. There's been no here's an update on his health. Here's an update on whatever, which I'm almost taking as a good sign that no news is good news. He must be recovering from his injuries, and there's nothing big to report. Thank God he's still with us. So
yeah. I think that will definitely come out.
But the interesting thing, this was from James Laporta at The Messenger. The officials said that after Reed was injured, he wanted to come back to the U.S. And no shit, I would too. I'd be all right, I'm tapping out. I'm done.
I'm ready to go home now. I've done enough.
But he was prevented from doing so because of an issue involving his contract with Ukrainian forces. So Ukraine... You
signed the motherfucking contract again.
I guess there are, sure that these are... The U.S. estimates there are thousands of U.S. citizens over there in, rogue groups fighting. But some of these groups, you do have to sign up and become part of that military.
I wonder what that MEPS is like. I wonder if
do they duck walk?
They make you do a duck walk, yeah.
But essentially,
it's curious to me because it's if you're not a citizen of that country, I get you sign a contract, but who's going to hold you to honor that? What's preventing you from just leaving? I mean, obviously, I don't know how you get in and out of Ukraine, but what's preventing you from just breaking that contract,
especially when
being
you're
in breach
Germany.
of that contract?
Right, you're in Germany. I could see if you're
no. This was before he got sent to Germany. So he gets injured. He's in Ukraine. He's get me out of here. I want to go back to the U.S. Send me to Walter Reed, wherever.
I want to go
home. Ukraine or to a U.S. base in Germany or somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And apparently Ukraine and whatever official force he had signed up with was no. And so he wanted to take his story to the press as a way to complain about his treatment in Ukraine and advocate for the U.S. government to help him yet again. Help me get... So first detained by Russia, and now kind of in a way, he felt like he was being detained by the Ukraine.
And I like him. I've DM'd with him back and forth a couple times.
But my friend, it's a little much.
You can only get rescued so many times.
So
right. At what point are we using too many of our own resources? Because at some point, it's very possible if we send more resources in there, something bad could happen to those people. So
he needs to have an NDA, but he can't go anywhere else. That kind of thing. You just can't do it. You're not allowed to leave.
Well, so Reed had to be talked off a ledge about going public to the media, according to one of these U.S. officials. But the threat of the publicity apparently helped because the White House, we're giving all this money and all this equipment and all this stuff to Ukraine. we can't have Ukraine looking like the bad guy in any way. And Ukraine holding on to this former Marine who is injured and not letting him go would be bad press. So
big time.
Him threatening to go to the press, apparently behind the scenes, U.S. government was like, okay, shut up. We'll get you to Germany. And they worked out some kind of deal to get him to the U.S. base in Germany. So apparently some non-governmental organization helped, with the logistics of it all. My own interpretation is that he got what he wanted. He wanted help out of Ukraine. The Biden administration doesn't want negative Ukraine press, so he got help.
I think you nailed that. I think. Oh, that wasn't you.
No, I
was like, Jesus, Kay, well done. I think you're exactly right.
No, that was one of the military officials. But I will say at this point, like, it's less. Well, people would have to come in and get you, and it's more. It just looks bad. One, had to exchange prisoners for you. Two, now. Bad press
and a bad
for Ukraine.
prisoner. Wasn't he the one that had like the Russian dude that had all kinds of arms deals and all over the world?
I think that was Brittany Griner. She was the Merchant of Death guy. Brittany Griner.
But so at this point, I mean, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the constant money that continues to flow into the Ukraine? So understandably, why the Biden administration doesn't want to have any bad press is because it's already hard enough fighting all the American people who hate the fact that we've given them X amount of dollars, and not like pennies either, like large sums of money. So what do you guys think about the amount of money we've given?
Here's my tinfoil hat that I'll put on.
All right, let's hear it.
Money was already spent. Because we ended the war in Afghanistan, all those folks had contracts that they had to keep going.
Wow.
So in order to fulfill the contracts that they're owed, they were like, well, this is a really bad thing. We could probably expend that and end our contracts whenever that's over.
Those motherfuckers.
That's actually
a good
really
theory,
smart.
right?
I like that.
Absolutely.
I'm putting my hat on too. I want to be in on that. I'm totally cool with that.
Absolutely. That makes
they
a
had
lot
to
of
pay.
sense.
I wonder if we could look up, I'm sure we could, how much that we've sent to Ukraine in the year and how much we did year over year in Iraq and Afghanistan. I would bet that those numbers come in very, very close.
During the peak.
But we never talked about it in Afghanistan, because if you have that amount of mortars, that amount of drones, and that's all of that is not with F-16s flying overhead, our choppers flying overhead, filling Hellfire missiles and all that stuff. Those numbers are just basically artillery rounds and like all the other different things that we've talked about and heard about.
Yeah.
I think that might be it.
Yeah, the spending, I think, would make most people's heads spin, but that makes a lot of sense. If it was already earmarked for something, then it's already gone, essentially.
That line of appropriation, yeah.
And then,
all the Congress
then it gets
with
into
all
the whole
stock options in it. We're like, yeah. Ukraine needs this.
But then it gets into the whole, like, if you don't use it, you lose it. So people don't want to lose the appropriations they've been given. I like that theory a lot. How has that not been broadcasted more?
I actually have to take my hat off because I live in the Ukrainian village, basically in Chicago. Sorry, they need all the support they can get.
Yeah.
Send them everything.
Yeah, you know what?
I hope things continue to work out there. I should mention a few days ago there were two more Americans who went over there and were killed. And the reason I know it, one of them was graduated a year ahead of me at West Point, Andrew Weber, and then Lance Lawrence, who was a Marine, were both killed on July 29th. Wow. I'm sorry, just let me ask you that. What do you think about these people who are volunteering from our military who are, I think, done serving and decided, like, I feel compelled to go help this other country by myself,
I think part of it's like the cliche, and as much as everyone hates the movie, I think part of it's like that Hurt Locker feeling where like he couldn't stop going back, like he was almost addicted to it.
Oh yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think you have like almost the romanticism of war.
Yeah. And then I don't know.
And then reality takes over, and I just, because I think we joke about our military quite a bit. We've done so for 7 years, and how we do some things and we're inept, and the idiot stories about soldiers and Marines doing silly things. But I think by and large, in terms of being tactically sound, our military is right up there at the best in the world.
Oh,
so
yeah,
if you go and then serve with other countries, and I think we take certain things for granted, like, oh wait, you just don't know this basic infantry tactic, and it's a little more hodgepodge. It's just that much more dangerous to go serve with these other militaries. So I think I really applaud them to go do something that is presumably even more dangerous than what they had already done in the military serving with us.
I don't know if I applaud them. And in fact,
I
I would say I
know.
don't. I think it's silly.
Okay.
I think because you put positions like the Biden administration or the Trump administration or whatever administration in a really bad spot. Like you said, you're already doing all these different things for a country like Ukraine, and then next thing you know, you have to worry about going and get people. Like if they get captured, what if Reed was captured again by
Yeah.
Russian forces and brought back? Then what happens? He ain't coming home.
No.
There's no fucking chance.
Yeah.
But they would still have to act because it's another Marine that's over there. And that whole story changes if he gets captured. He's lucky that he didn't, honestly. Like on the battlefield, that kind of wound. And it's not like the war that we were fighting where they could be a good distance away. They're fighting like street to street, house to house still right now. And you were always worried about that in Fallujah getting captured. I imagine it's the same exact thing there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Speaking of
speaking-
finances, Kate, before we move on,
Yes.
Kate pulled off one of the best stock trading moves I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
I cannot
tell-
wait to hear this.
Yeah.
I was so proud of her sitting on the couch the other day. I was like, look at Katie Banker. My God. Kate, tell the people how you're making a bankroll.
Yeah, well, I follow this Twitter account. It's the Unusual Whales account. Cons, I'm sure you follow it too or whatever. But one of the main things they do is track politicians.
Yes.
And what they're like, oh, look at what Nancy Pelosi did today, blah, 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 blah. And so I picked a couple of politicians. It was Nancy Pelosi and Dan Crenshaw, and started picking whatever they pick and doing whatever they do. I've made a G, man.
Yeah, she put
There
in
you go.
500 in less than a month, made $1,000.
There you go.
I know.
I mean, that's pretty
definitely.
good according to
Good
my
rate of
math for
return
Marines.
there.
That's 200%.
The only thing is they don't have to disclose the moves they've made for, I think it's like 30 days or 40 days. So you
Oh.
are still behind. It's not immediate. So this could go horribly wrong.
Yeah, because they could start
So-
selling everything and you're still holding on to it.
But you already made
diamond
money.
hand
I
skating.
already made money, so
It's
I can
rare.
get out. But
Yeah.
I'll be darned. Look at all those politicians you're following and watch.
Look at all those
Look at all
politicians.
those chickens. On another note, I was just curious. I had wanted an update on Travis King, who is the guy who ran over to North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. is declining to classify the Army soldier as a prisoner of war, despite being detained in North Korea, because essentially he's the one who did it.
Yeah.
Like, it's-
Yeah.
The decision.
And I think that a lot of people might be upset about that, but the designation of being a prisoner of war comes with a lot of things when you come back. Like your military retirement goes up, and there's a bunch of different things that are affected if you're
Oh,
a
actually, I
prisoner of
never
war.
considered that.
But
let
is
me
it
tell you
legit?
something.
Because
I don't know. I can't tell what's legit and what's not legit these days.
the messenger sounds not legit. Like that sounds
Very
like
much
some
not
made-up
legit
stuff. Because
sounding.
I had never heard the designation, and I went and looked for it. But in that same article or from that place, the messenger, they had that they put the designation of his desertion as embarrassment to the United States. That's
Is that
his
an official classification?
I don't know. I looked it up, but the messenger, if James is there, it makes me kind of believe that it's a legit place. But I looked it up. I wasn't able to find anything. So if you're listening and you know more about that kind of stuff,
it's owned by the same guy who created The Hill.
oh,
so it's definitely
probably,
not
it
slant.
probably has
that lends
partisan
legitimacy.
It might be legit, like some good news, but there's a little bit of a partisan twang.
Yeah.
I don't know what partisan twang would have embarrassment to the United States. That seems pretty bad.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you know, if you're listening and you know, hit me or email cons@barstoolsports.com and let him know if it's a legit designation or not.
Is that your favorite thing to do?
It's 100% my favorite thing. And blogs
Yeah, You
too.
should see some of the emails I get.
It's
It's
so-
unbelievable.
there was one I did last week about
Yeah.
email cons about what your kinks are.
Yeah, I got a few. I got a few.
God,
Thank
you're
you for
so
that.
straight laced. So I imagine some people that read Barstool are putting some just insane things out there. Kate, what? Why
Well,
do you
let
look
us know
so
what
dis-
the. Oh, I'm curious to know what the best
Yeah,
kinks
well,
are.
yeah, you need to let us know. We should have a segment where Cons the best emails that he gets. Send him a good one at cons@barstoolsports.com. Let him know how you feel.
The thing is though too, I read everything, every
Yeah.
DM, every email. So it's like people think like, oh, I'm just gonna send this. You never. There's oftentimes people are
He
like,
cupped
wow, I
her
didn't think you'd
dewy
respond.
breast
No,
with his. Yeah.
I
people say.
respond to everything. I read everything. It's a curse.
Now,
It's
what
gifted and a
about
curse.
What about if you've talked to somebody on DMs before on like Instagram, and then they keep messing you over and over? You feel like you do it every single time?
Yes. If
Wow.
someone sends me something, I at the very least react to it. Like like do the
Hit them
double
with the
tap
smiley face. Hit
just
them
to
with
let
the
them know
little
I
thumbs
saw
up.
it. Okay, got it. But more often
I'm
than
the
not, if you ask
opposite.
me a question, I don't leave questions unanswered.
I get
answer
anxiety and I'll ignore my family for a month.
How many notifications do you have right now? For
I think
text?
I'm up to like 375.
Wow. On texts?
Unopened text messages from like people I
375.
like, being like, "Where are you?"
But the good thing that we've had a relationship for so long, if you don't reply to me for like 3 or 4 days, I know it's nothing personal.
Nothing personal. I'm just having a
Yeah, that's why I don't
mini
feel bad
panic
like
attack.
following up either.
Cons, do you remember when she first started and she was going on a vacation to like the shore or something like that? And we were trying to get a hold of her and couldn't for like 3 or 4 days. And I was like worried because most millennials, you talk back and forth, you'll respond.
Yeah.
I was getting so close to see if I could get like your HR information to call your family to see if you're okay.
Because she's still alive.
Yeah.
I still have no problem putting my phone down on like a Thursday and like, oh yeah, there it is again on like a Tuesday. Be like, there's my phone. Like I have a problem.
All right, well, let's talk
Anyway.
about camels. Or we have one more.
Wait, no. We got a couple other things I want to talk about. Speaking of embarrassments to the U.S., what did you guys think about the U.S. women's soccer losing in the World Cup? Specifically, one, the team losing. Two, Rapinoe being the one that missed the PK and her laughing. And three, this was talked about a little earlier, and this goes to a bigger discussion about athletes in general. There was the complaints about them not singing, the national
God.
anthem or being respectful during the national anthem.
Dude,
But we'll
look
take
at
the first one.
Look at the lineup of most athletes in any sport, and most of them just stand there during the anthem. But some people sing along,
So,
but most
Not
I agree
everybody's
with you.
no Sean Moreno.
yeah.
Right. Not everyone's crying during it. I will say, though, I'd be interested to go and look at international competitions because I agree with you. Like an NFL game, like most of those guys are just standing there. Sometimes they're not even out of the locker room. But I wonder, I'd be interested to see like Olympics, World Cup, how people treat the anthem during that. Certainly during a medal ceremony is different, but like before a game, I wonder if that changes because it's an international competition.
I just feel like we're supposed to be like the freest country in the world, and yet we have this huge group of crybabies being like, they're not doing what they're not singing along, blah blah. Well, it's a free fucking country, and if you don't want to sing along, and you don't want to stand, then fucking don't. And all these people like they're not doing what the invisible rules we made up are about our country. It's like shut the fuck.
And I think
so
it's
sick of
different
those
if you're on an
people.
international stage and you're like
Like-
throwing up birds and like
Yeah.
doing all kinds of stuff. But if you're sitting there, you're not being as like quote respectful as you should be.
I just do
agree
not
with Kate.
care.
But I think when you're like what the reputation of like the U.S. women's national team is, and they know that's coming, and I think it's intentional and by design, which I'm okay with. Like the ability to have protests and
Oh,
things
they know
like
they're going to
that.
be under a microscope.
Yeah, they know
for
that people are going to be
the
looking at
anthem.
everything. I mean, they would probably have like cameras zoomed in on their shorts to see if they fart during the national
Yeah,
anthem.
yeah.
Like, and be like, oh, she fucking farted during the national anthem. And that would be a big deal. But the overall, going out in the round 16, not great.
Not great.
I don't
No.
typically start watching until we get to the quarterfinals.
Yeah. I hope, is
Yeah.
Jamaica still in? They did a GoFundMe to
I
get
don't
there, and it was like a
It was
great,
very cool runnings.
Yeah, very cool runnings. They won a game they weren't supposed to win, and they like had to raise their own funds to get there.
Yeah,
rooting
I'm
for
all
them
for
over
that
the US.
story. Going back to the anthem, like, I guess as long as you're not disrespectful, I would like, especially knowing people are watching you, maybe, I don't know, just stand there and put your hand over your heart. I'm not
Yeah,
expecting
you don't have to be
everyone
at parade
belting it
rest,
out.
but you would prefer at ease.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
usually never sing
something.
along because I have a
Yeah.
shitty voice.
No. I don't think singing along or not singing is the issue. If I didn't see of anyone being disrespectful, but it just I don't know. I think a lot of things because
Good point, Cons.
yeah. No,
Cons
I mean like
thinks a lot of things.
you have to know, like Rapinoe, who has obviously been very vocal about, and I don't really care what side of the issues you're on about anything she was saying, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be vocal about anything, then you have to know the criticism is going to be coming. You have a microscope.
Oh, she knows. She
I
definitely
think she knows. I don't think she cares.
Yeah, well, I think she should care, is what I'm saying. Like, the fact that I know she was like, oh, it was like a joke almost. I haven't missed a PK since 2018, and then I missed one. I had a problem with her laughing. I don't know. I haven't played on an international stage, so I'm not comparing myself to these athletes. But it's just interesting to me that the person who has been so vocal about so many other topics comes and just lays an egg and could be pointed to as the reason that we got knocked out.
Maybe it was like a crazy nervous laugh, like, oh, everybody's gonna fucking love that I missed this one.
And that's her last World Cup. It'll
Yeah.
be her last World Cup.
Yeah.
And as accomplished of a player as she is, knowing that'll probably be the last
That's
thing
her
you make in
legacy.
people's, like, it's your last shot.
Yeah.
Your last thing is people remember. Just like people remember
They
Dan Marino for
remember.
losing 62-7 to Jacksonville, like in the playoffs. They know that.
They remember.
No one remembers that. I do.
So it just sucks because now we got to wait, 3 more iterations if they want to try to be the first ever to be a three-peat, because now they got to go win 3 more in a row.
Yeah, but we could also be like one of those 94-year-old Cubs fans that says that they finally saw it. That could be us.
Yeah.
That could be us.
And if we win 5 out of 6, that's still pretty good.
I went to their
It's a good
ticker tape
dynasty.
parade down on Wall Street when they won last time.
All right, let's talk
Yeah.
about Camels.
Okay.
No, time out. We still got one more thing. This is very
Oh.
prevalent, very, very much in the news.
The Zuckerberg-Elon fight.
Yeah.
It's on hold now
Because Musk is a pussy.
because Elon Musk hurt his back or something like that.
No.
Wait, that's as of today?
Yes. Mark Zuckerberg said he's not holding his breath over a proposed cage match. Thank you. Fight with Elon Musk, and revealed that he had suggested the date of the 26th of August. He said he's ready today, basically.
See, I think that this whole thing changes the entire perspective of Mark Zuckerberg's life. Because before this, all he's known for is obviously Facebook, but also being a big nerd weenie.
Yes.
Like a big nerd, like you would always think you could bundle him. Like whenever
Yes.
he was sitting in his backyard with his big green egg,
Yeah.
talking about the meats. I like smoking the meats. Any other hobby that he's ever done, everyone is like, look at this loser. Look
Wearing
at this
all the
nerd.
sunscreen on his nose
Yeah.
on the stand-up
But
paddleboard.
now
Yeah.
he's the one actually fighting normal people in jiu-jitsu tournaments and winning. And those folks, like, talk about target on your back. You come in and you're going to fight Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, you want to beat his
You
ass
wanna
bad.
put him
You don't
in
want
a-
to lose to Mark
No,
Zuckerberg.
dude. You want to choke him out, put him in a triangle, try to break his arm because you know that you're going to be going crazy viral. The opposite is true if you lose to him. You don't want to be the dude that loses to Mark Zuckerberg.
There's very few people 23-year-old Kate would not want to hook up with for the story. And I feel like that's...
But what if he comes in and he just got his newly daunted belt that they gave him, and they're like, hey, Kate,
Now
he's
you're
sweaty from a
talking.
jiu-jitsu tournament, and he's also like the 5th richest person in the world.
Well, and he's like ready to go. He's like going off all this stuff. He
Yeah.
said, I'm ready today. But Musk tweeted out today
My
that
fingers hurt.
he may need surgery before the fight can happen due to problems
Surgery
with
for
his neck
what?
and upper
Okay.
due to problems with his neck and upper back. So now the cage fight is probably not happening. But
Did you guys-
all
in terms
proceeds
of-
of the charity would go to veterans.
Well, so
all
that's
proceeds for the fight.
mostly what I want to talk about. But really quickly, you guys ever heard who John DuPont?
That's nice that an event that's never going to happen is going to really benefit veterans.
Yeah, lovely.
Well, but so that's my question. Like, do you think like they put it like, oh, but it's going to go to veterans? Because I think out of curiosity's sake, people will want to watch this fight no matter what.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
To lend legitimacy to it, they're like, oh yeah, but we're going to give the money to veterans. It's almost like, again, like we've talked about in the past, like we're used as this pawn, as this catch-all that like, oh, if we slap veterans on it, any detractors can be silenced because we're like, oh, what do you hate money going to veterans? You better
Right.
support this event. So I just think it's fascinating that
Oh,
we're
I
using
support
pawn
the
in this.
event. It could go
Oh,
to
yeah.
anything. It could go to support the Russian War Fund, and I probably would watch it.
I'm going to watch it no matter what.
Maybe on an illegal stream, but I'd still watch it.
Amen.
Yeah, but I have
Yeah,
I have a hard time believing Zuckerberg's defeating people for real. Did you guys ever hear? Do you know? Who
I
John
don't. And look who he's training with. He's training with
I don't
Israel
care.
Adesanya.
I'm
He's
telling
training
you.
with champions.
I'm
He's
telling
got
you, listen.
billions of dollars.
No.
You think-
Do you know who John DuPont is?
Yes.
So he would do those wrestling matches in like these open events. and it came out later. Yeah, Foxcatcher. It came out later. Like these men were paid to take a fall. I'm willing to bet that the people
was
fighting
that during
Zuck,
the Instagram age? Was that during TikTok age when somebody's going to see it 40 billion times?
You're telling me you can't make it look legitimate and still lose?
I'm saying
With
I've seen him
jujitsu?
roll around like the way that. Have you watched him do jits? Like the way that he does it, and he's got a good triangle choke. He's got a rear naked choke that's good. Like if you watch, he passed the guard well, like doing the things that you're supposed to. There's a dude that was bigger than him. He put his foot in the exact right place, moved it out to the left, used his right elbow to push down onto the thighs, and then moved through the guard really, really quickly. And I was like, that dude's pretty good.
I just think it's a little more. I think it's a little more planned than we might be giving.
Well,
credit
if
for.
Elon
my
backs
hat on
out,
for that.
if
I'll
Elon
put my
backs
gym
out,
on.
we should get Cons in the cage with him.
I'll absolutely sign me up right now. I will go fight
Yes.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes,
I would
please.
do that in a heartbeat.
I would love to
In a
watch
heartbeat.
that. That would be. What would happen if you got choked out though, Cons?
But it doesn't matter because guess what?
That
For
would
me
be
to get
worse
in-
than the arm
Cons
wrestling
has-
video.
Cons has
Yeah,
bad
it would.
strength now.
But no. For me to get in the ring, I'm signing a contract for a large amount of money, so it doesn't matter.
That would have to go
even
to
if I
veterans,
lost.
otherwise you'd be a
For the right
and it
amount of money, you could eject me with the Ebola virus, and I'd be fine with it.
Amen.
Yeah, so.
All right, let's talk about camels.
Camels, people. Military camel program. Who knew? So back in the 1880s, there was a menace haunting a territory in the boonies of Arizona, and it was known as the Red Ghost. And it trampled a woman to death in 1883. It stood, some people were like, it kind of reminded me of the Giant of Kandahar. It stood 30 feet tall. A cowboy once tried to rope the ghost, but it charged its mount, nearly killing them both. One man chased
There
it.
ain't room big enough in this town for me and another camel.
Yeah, one man chased this red ghost and said, I swear it disappeared right before my eyes. Another swore it saw it devouring a grizzly bear. And months after the first attacks, a group of miners allegedly spotted the red ghost along the Verde River. And in this book about folk tales of the Old West, they all took aim at the creature. It fled their gunfire. Something shook loose and landed on the ground. The miners run over to see what fell off the red ghost. It was a human skull in the dirt with hair still stuck to the bone.
I know this seems like an article that R.L. Stein wrote, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Well, so several years later, a rancher spotted a feral, red-haired camel grazing in his tomato patch. The man grabbed his
That's
rifle.
got to be adorable, right?
The man grabbed his rifle, shot and killed the animal, and no one ever saw or heard of the red ghost terrorizing this boonies of Arizona region ever again. So it was a camel this whole time, a red camel. And people from Arizona who had gone out west, it's late 1800s, had probably never seen one, didn't know what the hell that thing was. And it turns out camels do be fucking people up.
Yeah,
They
do.
really do be. Roadside Zoo, Obion, Tennessee, last year, this place called Shirley Farms, Bobby Matheny, 42, and Tommy Gunn, great name, 67, both killed by a camel at a roadside zoo that they worked at. It was very much the Tiger King type of vibe
Oh,
at
yeah.
this zoo.
Or that one tiger that's on I-10 near Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. 2015, 2 people in Texas killed by an angry camel. Peggy McNair, 72, of the Camel Kisses Farm. Oh, no. And Mark Muir, 53, they got into a pen of 3 male camels, didn't realize those 3 male camels, it was rutting season. They were ready to go to
Those
town.
bad boys were in heat.
And they basically like trampled these people to death. Anyway, you look it up. A lot of camels don't mess around. They're like mean, lean. You catch them in the wrong thing. Saudi Arabia said there's about 340 camel collisions with cars every year, resulting in 16 human fatalities and 215 injuries. 7 out of 10 camel vehicle collisions cause human death and morbidity. Like
Jeez.
camels are out
That
here
makes
fucking
sense. I
shit
mean,
up.
that's just like no different than if like you're driving on the interstate here in Jersey and you hit a deer. I
Or a
mean,
moose.
that'll mess you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So long story short, people who knew about camels back in the 1800s were like, yo, our horses over here in the U.S. are fine and dandy. I got this other kind of horse-like creature that's way more badass. It's called a camel. We need them in our military. So in 1855, under the direction of then Secretary of War Jefferson Davis, Congress...
We need to bring back that title. The Secretary of Defense stinks compared to the
Secretary
Secretary
of War
of War.
sounds way better. he appropriated $30,000 for essentially war camels.
Yeah.
Davis believed that camels were key to the country's expansion westward because the Transcontinental Railroad wasn't built yet. That was still decades away. And they needed to haul like all the way out in California still. There was military outposts on the complete other side of the country that took months and months to get to. And they needed supplies and shit like that. Like picture where your outposts were in Iraq and Afghanistan, but without like before the time of cars and vehicles and whatever.
And it's genius, right? Like how far they have to go through the desert and not have any water. It's genius.
Yeah.
Yes.
My I was just thinking about that. My outpost from our like bigger fob that we were connected to was like 2 hours and change by Humvee. So if you had to walk or I don't know, that'd be
You were screwed.
pretty
What
But
are
do
gonna drag all
camels
that
gallop?
shit?
Can you be like giddy up and you?
Oh yeah, dude. Camel
got it.
races.
Oh.
Go watch camel
Oh,
races. They are
okay.
fast as fuck,
Really?
dude. They're crazy.
I wonder how much I bet they can carry a gang of weight too.
They can pull a ton of weight. So by 1857, the U.S. Army had purchased and imported 75 camels. But within a decade, that program had fallen apart. So that thing of 75 camels in 1857, under orders from Washington, the herd was split in two. A bunch of them went out to California, led by Edward Fitzgerald Beale, and he makes it all the way out with these dozens of camels to Fort Tejon, just north of Los Angeles. 1,200 miles, heat of summer, through a barren country with basically no feed and water, and he over high mountains, roads, whatever. He gets all these camels there, and people were like, "Holy shit, we can't believe you actually pulled that off."
And that's got to be insane. If you're one of the indigenous people and you're walking and you see a group of people on huge camels that you've never seen before because they're from a different part
Yeah,
of the
you're
world.
probably like, "What
And
the
they're carrying, you'd be like, oh, that's where the legend comes
It'd
from.
be like seeing an AT-AT walker from Star Wars going down the streets of Chicago. I'd be like,
Yeah.
"What the hell is this thing?"
Yeah.
Then 2 other expeditions were sent down to routes along the Mexican border. And they were like, this is working out. The camels are pulling shit. They're doing their jobs. They haven't mauled anyone to death yet, but I bet they did, and we just don't have the stories of it.
And that's what I think is super interesting. The next part, because you always talk about lobbyists, or not us, but you talk about lobbyists having such influence. Buddy, it happened again. It happened right here.
They were like, they put in 3 more proposals for additional camels, but the political cost was too high because of the mule lobby. The mule breeders and the mule people had a lobbyists in D.C. who were like, no more fucking camels. We got mules right here in the U.S. Quit going to the Middle East and bringing your camels
Wow.
over here. You're destroying the mule industry.
Right. I'll just summarize it pretty quick. It just came down to that. They're like, wait, if you bring in these other animals, this entire industry that we've developed, that we've used this very reliable animal, especially in the military, will be all but decimated. So they're like, no, you can't do that.
And it could have been shots fired at West Point.
Yeah, listen.
Little mule. Mhm.
Yeah, come on. Can't have that. So
But yeah,
the mule,
who
the
would have
mule
thunk?
lobby stood up.
There was a mule lobby of all things, and they basically crushed. They lobbied hard in Washington against what they called the camel experiment. They
I
didn't
would
even
love to
take
see
these
all those
camels
folks
seriously.
outside the Secretary of War's office, and they're like, listen, we heard about those 75 camels. Brother, you better get them back on mules.
Yeah, you better. It's just, who knew? And the other thing that killed them off besides the mule lobby was the Civil War. At the dawn of the war, after Texas seceded from the Union, Confederate forces seized Camp Verde and its camels, and they turned them loose, let them wander away. 3 were caught in Arkansas by Union forces, and I imagine that's like a good get.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
dude, wait till you see what the fuck we captured yesterday.
You're telling the folks back at the smoke pit.
You're not going to believe this thing.
Did you see what Lance Corporal Johnson had? A camel.
1 camel was reportedly pushed off a cliff by Confederate soldiers.
We do not support, we disavow.
That's not
At least
nice.
it wasn't a Marine with a bag of puppies. Everyone remembers that thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, another nicknamed Old Douglas became the property of the 43rd Mississippi Infantry.
Fantastic name for a camel.
Yes,
Douglas.
Old Douglas.
Come
But
here,
he was
Dougie.
shot and killed during Vicksburg.
Damn.
I guess our troops were like, hey, did that camel switch sides? It's dead. An entrepreneur of the frontier named Samuel McLaughlin bought the entire herd, the whole rest of the herd, and then shipped camels out to Nevada to haul salt and mining supplies in Virginia City. And he also organized a camel race in Sacramento. Over 1,000 people came and were like, this is fucking lit. This
I
is
bet
awesome.
that blew people's. That's got to be like the Chicago Air Show of the time.
Yeah. And this was he sold some of them to zoos, circuses, and even Beale was like, I want my favorite camel back. The guy who, I want my
cute.
camel back, camel back, camel back.
It reminded me of military working dog handlers. Like
Yeah, you get your
find
dog
out,
back.
Yeah, you find out that they're going to be done, and you're like, I want to put it in an adoption package.
The bones of Beale's favorite camel are actually, you can go to the National Museum of Natural History and see the bones
Sorry,
of Beale's
I
favorite
think
camel.
that
And
was
what was
one of
that? What was that camel's name? Because this is an awesome name too.
Oh, I don't see it. What is it?
Oh,
Oh, Gray? No.
A white-haired camel named Said. S-A-I-D.
Oh, yeah, Said. Yeah.
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 Yep.
That's a good one.
And he would take it on family trips. Like he used this camel like to hang out with his family until the camel died. Then the feral camels did survive. Like a ton of them were let loose like out in the deserts out west. They did survive in the desert, but they weren't like thriving. They weren't growing a ton in population. And sightings were super uncommon throughout the early 20th century. But the legend of the red ghost, the crazed wild monster roaming the Arizona desert, fits snugly within the shadow of the camel experiment. So the red ghost, there probably was a camel that probably trampled some poor lady, and it was probably the result of this failed. It was all because of the mule party, really, that this woman died.
I just thought it was a fascinating story. Thinking about
Yeah.
the historical context with no international or intercontinental railway system,
Yeah.
figuring out a way and a path to go with these camels all the way across. One, I understand maps and like direction and compasses and all that, but getting from Virginia all the way to California on camels is crazy. I feel
Yeah.
like I made an accomplishment when I go like 10 miles in Chicago on my bike and make it to the office.
Yeah.
And that's with the GPS. Like I feel like I'm doing a good job.
I think. When we have GPS, think about this. Like back in the day when you were a kid riding in the car with your parents and you had no idea where you were going or how long you would be in the car. It felt like forever. Whereas now you see GPS, it's like, oh, you can see like, all right, I have 43 minutes left in this trip. The mind games that would start to overtake you if you're trying to go across the country. Like, I don't know if I can make it. Like maybe you only have like 50 more miles, so you very much could. But I think that is unbelievable that people went across the country for any reason.
After driving from New Jersey to Chicago with a toddler and an iPad, I was like, how the fuck did the Oregon Trail happen with kids? How did people bring their kids on that trip? How did your kid...
How did longtime stoolie Ponce de Leon make it across the Atlantic? Like, how did that happen?
But I mean with toddlers being like, Mom.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
that's
they
what
had
I'm
kids
saying.
and
what
stuff.
The fuck? No iPad? What did you do? I don't know.
Do you think
I don't
toddlers
know.
were more well-behaved back then?
No, I think they just threw him on the back of the buggy and just see what happens.
Yeah.
You
then
shut
they
up and
just ignored
survive,
them.
or
Like
you
half of
don't
them
make
didn't
it.
survive anyway, so they were like, what's the risk here?
Yeah.
Yeah, more of a Babadook vibe.
That is surprising to me,
Camels.
and Leif Erikson coming up with the idea of having glass that reflects the sun when it was overcast on the water and figuring out which direction the sun was. That's crazy.
Yeah, no.
All right, let's move on to some save rounds and alibis. Cons, we'll start with you. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Straight Talk. Are you paying too much for your wireless plan? Honest to God, I looked at my Verizon bill that I had to cancel them. $349 for my entire family to be on a cell phone plan. Insanity. Straight Talk just introduced a new Straight Talk multi-line plan where more lines mean more savings. So just for $25 a line, when you have 4 of them, you get unlimited data, talk, text, all on nationwide 5G. A lot of the other fly-by-night little places that say they can save you money, they can't. Not like this company can. Plus, there's no contracts, no hidden fees, and no compromises. That's the Straight Talk talking from Straight Talk Wireless. It's available at Walmart and walmart.com.
Did you guys ever watch the OC when it was on live?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Big time.
So
Who did you want to fuck the most? Cons.
Everyone on the count of 3. One,
One,
two,
two,
three.
three.
Misha
The
Barton.
dad. Oh.
you talking about Sandy?
I
Chaps?
felt a little curious.
He's a looker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Successful. Yeah.
Certainly.
He'd give me
He's
the ride of my life.
arguably
would.
one of the
Yeah.
best TV
Strong
dads
jaw.
in TV history. But no, I guess you
Yep.
know it's floating around the ether right now because it's his 20-year anniversary. So we just restarted watching that, and it's just I'm a sucker for nostalgia. All the
Oh,
the
Rachel
good
Bilson's got to
times.
be the answer, right?
No,
Isn't that her
Of the-
name?
that was the
Of
Misha
the
Barton.
main-
I liked that Misha Barton was mysterious.
No,
bad
you know
girl.
what? Probably Olivia Wilde's character in season 2.
I forgot Olivia Wilde was in that show.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
That's where she got her
Goodness,
start.
we should do a ZBT rewatch of that.
People forget we don't do Band of Brothers. We do
Yeah.
the OC and tie it into military.
We should do the most popular ones that were on like the share drives.
Yeah.
Well, those
It'd be like
shows,
season 3 of Monk 4
Dude.
times in a row.
I promise you, there's an infantry unit out there that was like, "Oh, the OC was our fucking thing."
Oh, without
yeah.
question. I mean,
I told
my
a story about
favorite
one
thing in the
trio.
mail was Us Weekly was my favorite thing that came. Us Weekly or People magazine.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Telling
those were
people
great.
celebrities died.
Yes.
Yeah.
those were
Loved
great.
doing
Yeah, that
that.
was good. I dropped Michael Jordan on somebody whenever I was like, "Did you guys see what happened? Michael Jordan died. Terrible car wreck."
Yeah.
That's not funny.
No.
In the moment, we were bored enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's a
true.
good conversation.
Very
What's your favorite Michael Jordan memory? All right. Anything else, Cons?
No, that's it.
Katie?
No, I got my bike fixed up.
Oh, I thought you were going to leave with how you almost have diabetes.
Two
Wait,
things.
what?
2 things. Yeah. Finally heard from the doctor. I got all this, had to redo a bunch of blood work and stuff here and blah, blah, blah. Because when you go to a new hospital to have a baby, when you switch halfway through, they're like, we need to cover our ass. We know you got it all done before, but we make you do it again. And they're like, we know why you've been cold. You have no blood. I have no blood. I've been so tired. My limbs have been like falling asleep and I'm freezing all day long. And they're like, your hemoglobin's like super low. So finally, no, I know now. Thank goodness. 2, so I started taking pills, whatever. 2, I took there's a diabetes test that you have to take.
Yeah.
Diabetes.
Glucose test.
The diabetes
Oh, the glucose test. Isn't that the
Wilford
glucose
Brimley
test?
was there. He handed, the glucose test.
Yeah. That's like a big
I-
one. Like, because if you fail it, it's bad news.
I failed it.
Yeah.
So I failed it.
Way to go, Cons.
Sorry.
I went last Friday to take it, and you have to chug. You have 4 minutes to chug this thing. I did it in less than a minute. I always am impressed.
I
with
was
that.
impressed because a
It's
lot of
so
times it
cold and so
takes
sweet.
people a long, long time.
Yeah, I chugged it, and then an hour later they take your blood, and if your glucose levels are too high or whatever, they want to be super sure. So I have to go back this week and do a 4-hour glucose test. So now I can't eat for 12 to 8 hours ahead of time. I have to chug like double the amount, and it's even sweeter. And they have to take my blood every hour for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Now to see if I have it.
How do they not have a better process for this?
Right? What the hell?
Like,
Just-
we're so close to being able to fly F-18s with our brains, and we
Just
can't
look at my
figure out.
diet and tell me I have diabetes because I know I have it. I gotta have it. There's no way I don't have it.
No, I think
Yeah.
you probably. I mean, your
I'm
diet
eating a whole
was
box
terrible.
of Reese's Puffs.
But
every
Kate
day.
was eating a banana today.
Well, now I'm scared I have diabetes. So I heard those people eat bananas, right? Is that what they do?
The
don't
diabetes
know.
people.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the way they like.
I feel like
to
in
be
like the
referred.
like Seventh Heaven, they're on the basketball court. She's in diabetic shock. They're like, get her a banana.
Kate, I think the good news here is that it's a simple fix. You just got to change how you eat.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
No, not at this point.
Here's my other thing too. So I don't know how many months pregnant I am. I should. I'm like 30.
How many
I'm,
rings do you have?
I'm almost at 30 weeks. And there's only 40 weeks to go. So I'm
Yeah.
almost done. Okay.
Yeah, you're almost there.
I just got my bike fixed up. And I'm like, I can't wait to get on this hog. Okay. I went for a ride last night. I was out riding from like 9:30 p.m. to 11 something at night in Chicago. And then
You got to be crazy sore to be pregnant doing that.
yes, dude. I got on my bike today and I was like, youch! Like, holy shit. Because my whole pussy is just falling apart anyway.
Yeah, my pussy was fucked up too
I
when I
tell
started.
ya.
Yeah.
And mine's not electric or anything, no shade. So I'm doing
Oh,
all the
wow.
work.
Wow.
But I rode my bike to work today, which is like 5.5 miles each way. So I'm riding like 11 miles today. And I'm on the roads. Like I'm taking the roads that are safest, but I'm still on the roads. Am I a bad, like as I was riding, I'm wearing my helmet. I'm being extra careful. I'm like, look, following the rules. I have my little blinker lights on, but am I a bad, is that
Absolutely not. Everything could
super
happen.
irresponsible?
I mean,
I
you
don't
could have
know.
gotten a car wreck. You can get mugged on the train. There is no completely safe aspect in life.
Yeah.
And I think getting that exercise is great for
Well,
you.
that's the thing. I hate the gym. I've tried all these other fitness classes. The only thing I have tried and true liked for the last 10 years, besides hiking, and Illinois is too flat, sorry, is riding my bike. So I feel kind of guilty doing it and feel like I'm kind of being like a bad vessel for
I feel that's the
this
opposite
thing,
of
but
true.
like, whatever.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
I
supposed to be a
learned a
great
long
thing to
time
stay
ago
in
not to
shape.
have an opinion on what pregnant women want to do with their bodies.
Oh no, I got a
so-
lot of opinions. Yeah.
But also too, like at the same time, I feel like I'm the kind of person who like you have to live your life
Yes.
and do you. And so I feel, I don't know.
See, I think
But
this opinion of yours is so much more realistic than the last time you were pregnant. Like,
well, I
live
rode
your-
my bike all over New York City last
No,
time.
I'm saying like the live your life now as a bike instead of living your life with a baby at a bar like 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's different vibes.
Different vibe altogether. more
Anyway,
exotic,
I've
but-
just been thinking about that. I'm like, is this bad? But even if something happens now, if something happens and then people can play this clip and be like, she should have known, know that I don't feel bad.
Okay.
No, I do. I probably feel terrible.
Why? I don't understand why.
This is as if you're watching now as if I had been hit by a car and died.
Oh.
And so now this is someone
Some
watching.
old takes exposed.
Yeah, this is old takes exposed. So sorry if I do.
Okay.
That's your
Is that
choice
it?
to make.
Yeah, I just need to get that off my chest.
I think as a husband and a dad and Marine and my background and all that stuff, I'm fine with my family seeing me cry. I'm fine with them seeing me be emotional about my feelings. I am not and will never be okay with them seeing me in pain. I feel like no matter what, I have to guard it, that nothing hurts me. Like when especially to McCartney. So like when I broke my toes over
Oh, yeah.
Christmas break, there wasn't a change of expression on my face because I just suck
Just a
it
little
up
noise that
and
came
move
out.
on until this weekend. I had to go get Chippo. Do you guys know what Chippo is?
No.
The little
Okay.
golf game that's kind of like cornhole that you chip
Oh,
it in
yes.
this little net.
Yeah.
It's a really fun game. Me
Okay.
and my neighbors were playing it. I was like, I'll go grab Chippo. We'll play that, have a couple beers. Before I even started drinking, I want to make that clear in this. Before I even had nary a beer, I go get it. And in my basement, there's like a little ledge like this. Like when you start going up above, it's like six inches above my head. It's like 6'6".
I'm sorry, I'm already laughing.
But when the stair goes, that adds
yeah.
9 inches. And if I'm bebopping up there, like I'm back on the block, next thing you know, bad news. So it's concrete down there. And it's a very sharp edge that it's just
And you're already
90
a head
degrees.
injury guy.
I'm a head injury guy.
You've already been bangled.
I'm excited to get up there, so I'm even more boisterous going up the stairs than normal. Right smack. I don't know. I didn't check this morning.
Kate, have a look.
Yeah, Kate, come feel.
I can see it from here.
You can see it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can
There's
see it.
still a line in my head days later. And
His head goes.
yeah, it's like a line. And so I'm sitting there. Jeez, my head looks bald in these lights in here. So
As
oh
opposed
my
when it looks lush
God.
with hair.
Oh yeah, I have a
otherwise.
shaved head. That's why. I just more shiny. So I'm going up the stairs. I crashed so hard where it felt like my neck was getting smashed inside
Yeah.
my body, and I dropped the Chippos like instantly. And my wife's upstairs, and I go, motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like holding my head like, and she knows my background about having brain injuries and stuff. She's like, do we need to go to the hospital? Are you
Yeah.
okay? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Dude,
And I'm still like holding it for like 5. And I was like, I'm in pain. This sucks. And I just felt so embarrassed going out. And they're like, what happened? I hit my head in the basement.
I feel like looking at the line on top of your head, I feel like you cracked your skull open.
I do feel like I have a soft spot.
Yeah. I think
And
you-
even when I touch it, just a tiny little pressure hurts.
Yeah, I feel like at that point you probably wish you had a few beers to make it hurt a little
Yeah.
less.
Oh, I went and smoked weed immediately.
Yeah.
It was better.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear you
I
hurt
like
yourself,
that.
but I'm absolutely with you. I never saw my father in physical pain at any point growing up, and I don't want that for myself either. I'm in 100% agreement with you.
Which is
Can't show
probably a terrible thing to do to my
Probably.
kids.
Yeah.
Like they must feel like weenies when they're hurt because I'll
Because-
break my toes and be like, no, it's
But
fine.
also-
Let's
I
go.
do
We'll
remember-
go to
Part of
eat
it is-
first and then I'll go.
Part of it's legitimate. I have to imagine your threshold for pain is greater than other folks in your family.
Yeah.
I will say, too, it stands
Well,
out in your
Annalisa's had a
mind.
baby, so.
That's true.
It's a different kind of pain.
Yeah, very much so, but I imagine worse. Yeah. I guarantee you if you did, like, which one was worse at the height of pain, I would bet pregnancy was worse than my gunshot wound.
Well, probably because it was, like, sustained for a prolonged amount of time, where your gunshot wound was, like, it happened.
It was over instantly.
It was over.
The mental aspect is way worse because it was done for me. Like, as soon as it went through, it's kind of like getting your ear pierced.
What if you got shot and they were like, okay, Chaps, you're in the hospital now. All you have to do is get this bowling ball out your pee hole.
Brother,
That
would stink. They're like, you got to shit this thing out.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
The bullet grows to the size of a football, and you have to shit it out.
I need to have a disclaimer, and I know it's going to make you guys nervous because this is going to be a gross image, but I need to share it with someone. I was thinking the other day, you know boa constrictors and how they eat stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sure, they just choke it out and then devour it.
So they bring it into their mouth. Their mouth becomes essentially an O, right? Mm-hmm. So their mouth is a circle, and they're bringing in whatever prey it is. And there's like these convulsions that the python has that'll bring it in a little bit more and bring it in a little bit more. I think our buttholes are reverse boa constrictors, where it grabs and pulls forward.
Why?
Until it goes out of the snake's mouth. Right?
Why?
Right?
Cons.
No.
No. I mean,
Why is he
the
doing
imagery, right? Like if a boa constrictor throws up a goat, it's the same thing. Your butthole's a reverse boa constrictor. It just is. No matter what people want to say, it's a hard fact, but nevertheless, it's a fact.
Listen, if that makes sense in your head, then more power to
You don't see it.
I think you should get back into Pangea. I think
Yeah.
you should.
Not
I
a
like
lot of
Pangea
legs on
Chaps
this one.
better.
No legs,
Much
actually.
like a boa constrictor.
No
yeah.
legs at all.
Yeah. All right. Sound the retreat.